Before we dive in, viewer discretion is advised. This is entertainment, but with teeth. The studio thrums with electricity. Bright lights glare down on polished desks. Cameras hum like engines. Somewhere in the control room, a red live light pulses steadily. The crowd is caught in that strange mix of curiosity and danger that always precedes a moment you can't take back. Tyrus leans forward, filling the frame with his imposing presence. His voice cuts through the hum precise and burning. I call Donald Trump a wannabe dictator because he is. A nervous laugh drifts from the audience. The words hang, dense as smoke. It repeats it slower, sharper, carving it into the air. Because he is. The laughter dies. The host smiles, uneasy, casting a glance toward the producers offstage. But Tyrus isn't here to play nice. You can feel it. Something raw is about to break loose. The segment was supposed to be about Trump, another round of televised outrage. But in an instant, the target shifts. Now it's Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Tyrus straightens, eyes narrowing. Maybe it's time we get a little fiercer, he says, heavy with resolve. Because we have to push back. The words land like a challenge. For a heartbeat, even the cameras seem to tremble. He pauses, like a boxer before the first real punch. The thing that bothers a teacher most, he continues, hands slicing through the air, is watching a bully and doing nothing. When it's a child, you teach them why bullying is wrong. But when it's an adult, someone like Donald Trump, you'd bully the hell out of him back. The studio holds its breath. A few uneasy laughs flicker through the tension, but the weight only thickens. The host tries to steer the conversation, but Tyrus leans in, eyes blazing. This is no longer a commentary, it's confrontation. Then it comes, the line that detonates everything. First of all, he growls, a half-grin curling his lips. Whose balls is he hiding in his cheeks? The air goes still. Someone in the control booth mouths, did he just say that? The host freezes, stifling a laugh, but the corners of his mouth betray him. The set feels like it's tilting off balance. Tyrus doesn't blink. What we're seeing here, his voice drops, low and deliberate, is weakness. A weak, cruel man taking it out on everyone else. Every word strikes like a hammer. There's no soft landing, no polite phrasing to hide behind. Cameras stay fixed on his face, sweat gleaming under the harsh lights. It isn't performance anymore, it's conviction. The audience senses it. They aren't watching a segment. They're witnessing. Tyrus isn't reading lines. He's unraveling years of hypocrisy, pulling every thread until the whole image begins to fray. Tim Walz's name lands like a spark on gasoline. The calm, relatable Midwestern dad, the neighbor with the easy smile, suddenly becomes a symbol of something else entirely. The host shifts, desperate to redirect, but it's too late. Tyrus, Barris, forward, unstoppable. Maybe it's time to stop pretending, he says, colder, sharper now. Because this isn't leadership, it's theater. Lights glare off the glossy desk, unforgiving. His gaze locks on the camera. The thing that bothers me most, he continues, voice steady, is watching people cheer for a mask. Finally, He leans back, exhaling, his stare unbroken. The room stays silent except for the soft whir of the cameras. Viewers at home sit frozen, unsure whether they've just witnessed a debate or a public unmasking. One thing is certain, something real just happened on live television. The lights blaze down like a boxing ring. Tyrus folds his arms, calm again, like a fighter who knows the first round is his. The myth of Tim Walz, polished, smiling, neighborly politician, is cracking under the glare of national TV. And everyone watching knows it. There's no going back. The first blast passes, but the air remains thick with smoke. The host clears his throat, mumbling something about perspective. Tyrus is far from done. He leans in again, tone lower, deliberate, speaking to the millions watching. Tim Walz, he says, stretching the name like a slow reveal. The teacher, the coach, the veteran, the friendly neighbor waving from his lawnmower. America bought it until tonight. A nervous laugh ripples across the set. Tyrus lets it. The words hang in the air before striking again. He's been sold like a damn insurance commercial come voice. Soft smile, the we're all in this together routine. Political State Farm, on loop since 2009. It used to feel genuine. Now it's just expired. The audience chuckles, uneasy. They recognize the image. Flannel shirts, backyard speeches, polished grin. Tyrus tilts his head. You ever notice how these guys always talk about small-town values? Right before they screw over small-town people. The camera catches a guest shifting in their seat, eyes darting to the host. They've seen fiery commentary before, but this feels different. Tyrus isn't riffing. He's cutting. Every word lands like a jab to a rehearsed persona, bleeding under the lights. And then he goes for the jugular. Remember the look. His tone sharpens. You couldn't go to church. But you could buy vodka at the gas station. Families couldn't gather to pray, but liquor stores were essential. That's leadership. He shakes his head. Disbelief etched in every movement. People lost jobs, businesses, their minds, and Walz was out there patting himself on the back for saving lives while the state went dark. That's not leadership. That's selective empathy. Clips flash behind him. Empty streets, shuttered shops, press conferences framed by blue curtains. Calm, practiced, unshakable. Tyrus doesn't even glance at them. You see that calm face? That's what happens when someone mistakes image management for compassion. He moves on, voice rising. When the George Floyd riots tore through Minneapolis, he froze. The city was burning. People terrified. He stood there, waiting for someone else to make the first move. Ose in, and still waiting for permission. The host murmurs something about complex circumstances, but Tyrus cuts him off. Complex. Leadership isn't complex. It's standing up when people need you. It's not hiding behind your press team while your city burns. The words hang. Even the laughter stops. The studio hums with tension. Then Tyrus shifts, softening just enough to make the next strike land harder. He loves to talk about helping working families, he says, drawing the words out. But every time he helps, their taxes go up. That's like a doctor treating a fever by setting you on fire. The camera pans. The panel. One guest smirks. Another buries their eyes in notes. Nobody interrupts. You don't interrupt this rhythm. Tyrus leans forward, shoulders squared, eyes glinting. This isn't about hating the guy. It's about the act, the performance, the fake I'm one of you smile. His voice darkens. He shows up at your church picnic, brings a bowl of potato salad, shakes hands, and then, when the cameras leave, raises your property taxes and blames inflation. A low murmur ripples through the audience. The room feels alive now, raw, as if it knows this is more than entertainment. Leaning back, exhaling through his nose, Tyrus almost playfully asks, "You know what it's like a magician at a kid's birthday party. You clap, you smile, you pretend to be amazed, until you see the card up his sleeve, the coin behind his hand. You can't unsee it. That's Walz, a political magician who's run out of new tricks. The host attempts a laugh. Tinen weak. Tatese. Quite an image, he says. Tyrus stares, dead serious. Yeah, once you see it, you can't pretend anymore. The control room camera zooms in. Sweat glistens on his forehead. The gleam in his eye says he's not finished. Around him, the studio hums with unease. Even those who disagree feel it. The power of truth, wrapped in mockery, slicing through spin and speechwriting. He shakes his head, almost pitying. The teacher thing, the soldier thing, the friendly neighbor think peel away the mask, and what's left? He lets the question hang. Unanswered, silence stretches. Somewhere in the back, a light flickers. Cameras keep rolling. Viewers at home lean closer, feeling at the illusion cracking, seam splitting. The story of the good, steady small-town governor slips away in real time, replaced by something darker, stranger, far more human. Tyrus doesn't smile. He watches the camera like it's looking straight through him. You can't sell authenticity, he says quietly. You either have it, or you don't. Elian's back, folding his arms, as if closing the first act of a long, brutal play. The lights catch the edges of his face sharp, unwavering. The host hesitates, mouth half open, but no one speaks. The mask has begun to crack, and now everyone watching knows it won't stop. The room thrums like a storm refusing to break. The uneasy buzz of an audience, aware they're witnessing something real, swells and lingers. Tyrus isn't talking politics anymore. He's talking about the man. Every trace of humor in his voice sharpens into something colder contempt. He shifts, adjusts his expression, and suddenly he isn't Tyrus at all. He's Tim Walz. The transformation is uncanny. His tone flattens. His posture softens. Head tilts just so, adopting the practiced empathy Walz wears, like Kelowna performance, rehearsed in mirrors. Tyrus leans in, voice dripping with mock sincerity. Do I look concerned? Tilt my head 30 degrees. Add a sigh. He lets the pause linger, then drops the punchline with surgical precision. There it is. Perfect. America's favorite caring neighbor. The crowd cracks. Laughter. Applause. Then a collective gasp. Even the host holding his breath for 2 acts. Lets out a short, helpless chuckle. But behind the humor is recognition, a dawning awareness that the kindness they thought they saw in Walz might just be an act. Tyrus presses on. Ever watch him talk about tragedy? Same voice, same face. Rear scene for Concerned Politician of the Year. Open palms, slow nods, soft eyes. But when the cameras turn off, that mask drops faster than his poll numbers. He leans forward, expression hardening. See, that's what I can't stand. Not the bad policies, it's the performance. Every word feels scripted, every smile waiting for direction. The audience leans in, silent. Tyrus shifts again, voice steady, rhythmic, ready for the next blow. With all those backflips, he could quit politics and join Cirque du Soleil. Laughter erupts, disbelief and delight. Colliding, Tyrus rides the wave. Come on. Come. One day he's for it, next day he's against it. Depends on which way the Minnesota wind blows. If hypocrisy were cardio, this guy'd be an Olympic athlete. Applause follows. The cameras pan closer. Tyrus leans back for a beat, then lands the next strike. You know how you can tell he's faking it? He drops his voice to a whisper that outfit the sweater under the blazer. No man wears that, unless a PR team told him it makes him relatable. The host tries to interject nervously. Tyrus waves him off. It's not the clothes. It's intention. Every gesture, every word, every detail is designed to make you think he's one of you. But he's not. He's a performer trapped in a role he doesn't even believe in. The crowd murmurs, half in agreement, half in disbelief. Brutal but impossible to look away. This isn't Walz anymore. It's the performance of politics itself. Endless pretending, rehearsed empathy, manufactured connection. Tyrus's eyes glint under the studio lights. This is theater. He's not leading, he's acting. And the sad part, most of them are. He lets the silence stretch, then smirks. But you know what? I'm done clapping. The crowd erupts. Laughter, cheers. The thrill of truth, landing where everyone knows it hurts. Producers wave frantically off stage, but it's too late. The fire had spread. Tyrus leans forward, voice rising like a WWE monologue each word. A body slam. He talks about unity while dividing, courage while hiding behind consultants, honesty while reading lines from interns who've never met him. You can feel it. It's not real. The audience is electric, caught between outrage and delight. Tyrus keeps going, filling the room with every accusation, every observation. This isn't leadership. It's live-action role-play for politicians who forgot what a backbone looks like. Laughter hits like thunder. The host leans back, speechless. No questions remain. Tyrus has seized the narrative. He slows, tone dropping cold and reflective. Funny thing, people see this, and they still tell themselves it's fine. Just politics. But it's not. It's the biggest scam in an endless play, where the actors never drop the mask. Even when the curtains are on fire, the audience doesn't laugh. The studio goes silent, reverent. Tyrus stares into the camera, eyes burning under the lights. Tim Walz isn't the only one wearing that mask, he says. He's just the one who forgot we can see through it. The words, no one moves. Laughter, applause, energy all fade into a single, pulsing realization. The wholesome Midwestern governor is gone, replaced by something hollow, uncomfortably human. Tyrus exhales slowly, a smirk tugging at his lips. He doesn't look at the host, the guests, or the cameras. He just stares straight ahead, calm as the storm inside him finally settles. Somewhere in the control booth, a producer whispers, "Cut," but no one hears it. The moment stretches, raw and electric. Tyrus leans back in his chair, the first act of his demolition complete. Tyrus folds his arms across his chest. The smile is gone. The audience can feel it, the weight of what just happened. This isn't politics anymore. It's truth, cutting through the act. The lights flare against his face, and everyone watching knows they've seen something rare. Demas das and just cracked its. Shattered out for a long moment. Silence hangs heavier than any noise. No one in the studio speaks. The energy has shifted. What began as a roast has become something sharper, more dangerous. The mask is gone, and in its place stands a mirror. Tyrus doesn't glance at his notes. He doesn't need them. He leans forward, elbows on the desk, voice low but charged. It's not just about him anymore. It's about all of them. These guys aren't leaders. They're stage actors reading scripts written by consultants. The host blinks, unsure if this is even the same segment. In the control booth, the crew exchanges glances, half panic, half awe. Tyrus doesn't falter. Every one of them learns the same moves. Hand on heart, soft voice, look of concern. Not leadership, it's choreography. They rehearse compassion like it. They say a monologue. He gestures toward the camera, intensity sharpening. They think the country is a theater, and we're the audience. But we're not watching anymore. We're waking up in the middle of the play and realizing the actors don't know their lines. He shakes his head, a dark laugh, escaping. Modern governance, like trying to build IKEA furniture without the manual. Pieces missing, screws rolling under the table, and some guy insisting he's got it handled. When it collapses, He blames the lighting. The crowd laughs, but it's a different laugh. Now low annoying, the image hits home. Everyone's built that table, cursed those missing screws. Now they see the metaphor. Government as a room full of people pretending the structure isn't wobbling. Tyrus shrugs. Yes, glinting. They build it wrong. Watch it wobble. Then hold a press conference saying it's sturdy and people believe it, until it caves in. Behind him, the big screen flickers to life. Archival clips of Walz's campaign speeches, smiling crowds, slogans about unity, promises of fairness and opportunity. Audio soft, hopeful, practiced. Our strength is our diversity. Walz says on loop, we're building a better future together. Tyrus doesn't even glance. There it is, he mutters. The commercial. He turns back to the camera, half amused, half disgusted. They sell you these lines like toothpaste. Same words, different packaging. Unity, equity, together. It's all marketing. Because if they really believed it, they'd stop dividing people to stay in power. The host tries to speak but falters. You're saying it's all fake. Tyrus nods, slowly. Worse than fake. Professional pretending. They're not lying, they're a-performing. They believe in the idea of themselves more than the country they're supposed to serve. The screen behind shifts again. Protests, smoky streets, pandemic chaos, interviews, emptied podiums. Promises collide with failure. Every smile fades into confusion. You can't run a state or a country like a PR campaign, Tyrus says, voice low, measured. Eventually, the curtain falls, and when it does, you see the same thing. Nothing behind it. Just a man in a suit, sweating under the lights, pretending A has got it all figured out. The words end with a thud. Even the cameras seem louder, capturing every flicker across his face. Elian's back tone dropping to a near whisper. Tim Walz isn't the problem. He's the proof. Proof that politics stopped being about service a long time ago. It's theater. Every vote, every policy, every soundbite, designed for applause, not progress. A long silence stretches. The host stares at his notes. Guess, figget. Nobody interrupts. Tyrus breaks the quiet with a low chuckle, not amused. You know what's the saddest part? The audience still claps. They see the same show, over and cheer like it's new. He leans in, eyes burning into the camera as if speaking to someone far beyond the studio walls. But the cracks are showing. People are starting to notice. These leaders, the polished photo-ready, faces there. Just performers with better lighting. The host exhales shakily. You make it sound like it's... Tyrus doesn't answer. The tension lingers. The truth has been said. The audience knows it. Tyrus lets his arms fall across his chest. The faintest smile tugs at his lips, the first hint of calm in minutes. It's not hopeless. It's honest. Maybe, for the first time, people are seeing politics for what it really is. A script running too long, with actors who've forgotten why they stepped on stage. The camera lingers on him, unflinching. The tension has shifted from outrage to revelation. Even those who oppose every word feel at the undeniable weight of truth. The studio doesn't feel like a talk show anymore. It feels like a courtroom. Every joke becomes evidence. Every pause, testimony. The lights burn brighter. The air feels thinner. You can almost hear the hum of the stage lamps, the soft collective exhale of disbelief. No one moves. The audience isn't just watching Tyrus dismantle a politician. They're watching him tear open the illusion politics has become. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. One day he says quietly, someone will turn off the cameras. The applause will stop, and that's when we'll see who they really are. The words linger. Even the laughter that once punctuated his monologue has vanished. Now, there's only silence, the unmistakable sense that a curtain has been pulled back too far to ever close again. For the first time all night, Tyrus sits completely still, hands resting on the desk, breathing slow, the fury that drove him now cooling into quiet certainty. The crowd doesn't clap. Laughter evaporates. Ibente, host normally quick to joke or pivot, sits blinking, caught between awe and unease. The studio feels smaller, the walls closer, the lights hum, but no one moves. The camera doesn't cut away. It lingers, instinctively knowing this isn't a moment to interrupt. Something has shifted, not just in the conversation, but in the way people will see the man Tyrus just exposed. Almost imperceptibly. Tiffy Coots replays flash on monitors. Tim Walz smiling, waving, shaking hands at rallies. Campaign music plays faintly beneath his voice measured, confident. But now, every gesture feels hollow. The smile forced, the handshake rehearsed, the words, once reassuring, echo empty. The mask, built over years of politics, has cracked wide open. No editing can glue it back. This isn't the fall of a man, it's the collapse of a facade. The face that once symbolized the gentle Midwestern everyman now feels like a billboard peeling in the rain. You can still make out the features, but the illusion is gone. What's left is just another politician exposed under the harsh light of scrutiny. Back on set, Tyrus sits quietly. No smirk, no victory pose. He doesn't gloat. There's no triumph, only a weary calm, like a boxer who knows he's won but feels no sweeter for it. He exhales slowly, voice low when he finally speaks. Sometimes, he says, eyes tracing the floor, politicians aren't undone by their enemies. They're undone by the image they built too perfectly. The line lands like a hammer strike. The host stares, speechless. In the control booth, the crew exchanges glances, unsure whether to cut to commercial. The camera lingers, capturing the exhaustion etched into Tyrus's face. For the first time tonight, he isn't the loudest man in the room, he's the one who has seen too much to believe in the show anymore. Finally, the network bumper flashes. Transition music swells. The screen fades to commercial, but the silence doesn't leave. The audience murmurs quietly, voices low and uncertain, like leaving a church after a sermon that hit too close to home. In the control room, producers scramble. Phones buzz. Feeds light up. Clips of Tyrus's tirade spread across social media, deaded, captioned, remixed. Cirque du Soleil politics and IKEA government trend within minutes. It's not a segment anymore. It's a moment. A moment that will live online forever. Outside, night settles over Manhattan. Streets gleam under the glow of billboards. Blue light flickers across countless faces as people replay the clip again and again. Millions of views in hours. Hashtags rising. The image of Tyrus leaning into the camera, voice trembling with conviction, becomes a headline. Somewhere in Minnesota, the man at the center, Tim Walz the teacher, the coach, the neighbor watches his own reflection on the screen. He may not speak. He may just stare, realizing for the first time that the version of himself he sold to the public no longer belongs to him. Back in the studio, the lights dim. The crowd filters out, whispering as they pass. The camera's cool, still warm from the broadcast. Tyrus stays seated a moment longer, eyes on the empty chairs, the blinking red lights, the quiet hum of machines. The performance is over, but the echo of his words, the ones that stripped away the gloss, refuses to fade. When he finally stands, he doesn't look back. Outside, the city hums with neon and noise. Screens replay his face, his words. The moment the act collapsed, the skyline pulses. Like a heartbeat, the illusion is gone. The lights have gone out. And somewhere between outrage and revelation, a country watches in silence, wondering what remains when the show finally ends.